Welcome to Time Sync, the weekly podcast to let you know what's worth sinking your time into. I'm your host, Sauce, and I'm joined by Mr. Hummer. And Brad.
Funny noise.
We got a great episode for you this week. This week, we're going to try to talk about, I don't know if we're going to be able to fit it all in, but we're going to talk about Tigtone, Cobra Kai, Spiritfarer, Borat, the second Borat 2, that's got a longer name that I can't remember right now.
The second coming of Borat.
That's what it is.
It's subsequent movie film.
There
Delivery
it is.
of prodigious bride to American regime for make benefits once glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
Whoa, Kazakhstan, at least country, right?
Close enough.
Yeah, sure.
The Witches, Emily in Paris, and Enola Holmes. So stick around. We got a great episode.
I mean, some of these are repeats, but let's just face it. We're just here to throw Brad some more street cred for two incredible offerings there in Cobra Kai and Enola Holmes.
Yeah, we're just here to feed Brad's ego.
That's what Brad likes.
But before we get into everything, I just want to do a quick refresh on why we're here and what we do.
Refresh.
Well, we already addressed
Douching.
we're
Refresh.
Here to your ego. Number one. Number two, we rate movies. We rate TV shows. We rate video games. We're going to rate it, but not on how good it is. Not, is it a 10 out of 10, a masterpiece? Is it like this perfectly created thing? That's not what we're rating. We're rating if it's worth your time. So on our scale, a 5 is it doesn't mean it's like critically a 10 out of 10. It could be a 2 out of 10, but we think a 5 is 100% worth your time and move it to the top of your list. Like forget whatever was in your backlog that you were going to check out. 5 is you got to check it out right now. Put this at the top. And then on the reverse side, 1 is not worth your time whatsoever. So 4, definitely worth your time. Put it on your list. 3, wait for like a sale or wait for if it's free on like Netflix or something. 2, you're good either way. See it, don't see it, whatever. It doesn't matter. And again, 1, not worth your time. So with that knowledge, we're going to be dropping on you what we think is worth your time. You guys got any input for that?
Yeah,
Fail!
You start off right off the bat here. Cyberpunk in my mind just went to a 3. Wait till it's on sale. Get Valhalla. It's coming out first.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, not wait till it's actually available for sale. But yeah, you're right. That's huge.
Wait till it goes on sale.
Literally, like wait till they are like, here, the game is finally out. I was like, wait till it goes on sale. What? It's still day one play. Wait, but now that I've caught up, there was a little whoosh going on there. But I've caught up. I'm back in the game. Put me in, coach.
Glad we got you guys there. I just read that news and the people that's going nuts about it. It's I think it was like literally the day before they announced this being delayed till December 10th. Someone was asking on Twitter, should I go ahead and take put in my vacation days? And they said like something along the lines of absolutely guaranteed to come out.
They said, go do it.
Go for it.
And the next day, you just saw that big yellow tweet. And I saw it on Reddit. I got a Reddit, which rarely sends me notifications, sent me a notification about it. And it was just this big yellow page. And I was like, it's not April Fool's. So this has to be another delay.
Wait, what would your Reddit notifications be? Like, oh, hey, Bradley, your favorite actress's OnlyFans page has just posted a new photo.
Anna Blossom has a new post.
I do have that set, of course. If you guys haven't set that up, like, what are we even talking about?
I mean, mine is definitely now. Margaret Robbie has a new post. That's
Homer has a Google alert set for her.
Yeah. Well,
So Cyberpunk, what was supposed to be the hottest and probably the best game of 2020, is not coming out in 2020.
I
What's
thought they
But
only delayed it till December 10th.
It's delayed till December 10th, so they had 21
Yeah.
days,
Mm.
and it cited the reason basically is testing on like 9 different versions, different consoles and whatnot. Which, like, I guess like it is what they're saying. So I don't know. I'm not a developer, but if I had to take a guess, that's kind of a little bit of a cop out in my mind, because the platform between Xbox Series or Xbox S One, Series X, Series whatever, like it doesn't really
Xbox.
matter. They're all these games are like backwards compatible because it's the same platform. It's just a Windows 10 based operating system. Like, so it basically, in my mind, it kind of solidified it. I was up in the air between, am I going to start Valhalla first or am I going to start Cyberpunk? Because these are both games that are going to take hours to play. They're going to offer a lot of content. And so in my mind,
Like
it really
hundreds of hours.
Hundreds
Yeah, I
of
was
hours.
gonna say hours is an understatement.
Yeah, and so it's solidified
Years
my
of
mind.
your
I'm
life.
I'm gonna go ahead and get Valhalla. I'm actually gonna wait for Cyberpunk not to actually go on sale for day one. I'm gonna wait for it to get discounted sometime in 2021 to purchase the game. I'm gonna wait for it to actually go on sale.
Wow.
You might as well just wait till it hits Game Pass then.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I could be playing Valhalla that long, but and even so, the multiplayer content, if they're this far back on the single player campaign, I can't imagine where they're at with multiplayer content.
I don't
So
think
maybe
that's a goal or focus right now at all.
So what's the point in getting it day one then, versus waiting till I beat Valhalla to go and pick it up? Because I think both
So you
games are going
can
to get
choose your penis size, obviously. That's
gonna
why
have-
you get it day one.
I'm gonna have a 6-pack, but like of balls.
I'm thinking going no penis, just none. No nipples, no penis.
big,
Like,
hairy.
are you talking like Ken doll,
bananas.
or are you gonna have balls, or
Oh no, full Ken doll. I don't even want to. I don't
Ken
even
balls?
want to think about it. Just straight Ken doll.
full Ken
No
balls?
romance storylines. Just straight Keanu action.
I can respect that.
Speaking of Keanu,
That's what I want in my real life.
dude. I got so hyped when they
No,
had
you
Keanu
want
Reeves
you
in
don't want
Cyberpunk.
straight Keanu action. You want the other kind of Keanu. Action.
I want digital Keanu, man.
Yeah, I'm real excited for that. Real excited for Keanu. So Halo got delayed this year too, which was the only reason I really wanted to buy an Xbox. So we got Cyberpunk delayed. Now Halo Infinite's delayed, and Halo Infinite's having all kinds of problems too. So Hummer, you just read what was going on. Do you want to share?
Chris Lee, the head of their studio, basically stepped away from the project, and this is the second head of 343 Studios that stepped away during the development of this game. So it makes you wonder what's going on over there for a studio that's basically now known for just Halo. Unless you guys have anything else that they're mainly known for here. And
they did Halo.
They did Halo.
5. The worst.
Did they do 4? Did they do Halo 4 too?
Yeah, they did. Halo 4 was pretty good.
I mean, I was pumped about
Actually,
it. I'm excited about it. You see it get pushed back. It's a shame because this is a game that probably would have been, like you said, a system seller and a Game Pass seller for that I don't know. That matter. And I was looking forward to it. It's just a shame because it's Halo's such a great game, and also I'm ready to see some of these Xbox Series X optimized games, which we're basically gonna have one at launch. I think we're gonna have one.
Which one?
Valhalla.
Mm.
Which you can play on multiple systems.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, but I want that shiny new system, and I want it to look so shiny and new.
Yeah. It's hard not. I'm an early adopter. It's like hard. I can't even get it. I want it and I can't get it because it's impossible to pre-order.
And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. That's also a shame, but I think a lot of that's being blamed on COVID with production capacities.
Sure.
That's an easy cop out at this point.
Well, not to get too techie, it's built on a new manufacturing process. So it's just there's not as much not as much volume there for them to produce these systems, and the demand is so high that both Sony and Xbox have basically said all of their 2020 inventory is getting sold. There's going to be very little that's actually going to hit shelves, just because the minute that it's getting released, it's getting sold. So if you're not on Best Buy's website when they get their new inventory in, you're not going to get one. They're actually thinking it's not going to become, like, I guess, readily available till the middle of next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the
When
middle of
I
next year
can
is when
afford
there's going to be games worth playing. Like, you know.
That's also when I'll be able to afford it.
Maybe it'll be on sale.
But yeah, here's the thing. Like, Brad, do you have a 4K TV?
No.
So, you know, what's the point, right? Other than
as long as there's support for the Xbox One, I will continue to play on the Xbox One. I don't have a big need other than the big need I have to have new things.
Yeah, well said. Same.
I mean, it makes sense too. It's like when you're playing with a PC, you don't need the newest and greatest graphics card if you're playing on a 1080p monitor. You only need one that supports a 1080p monitor. Sure. Same thing with Xboxes. So, I mean, I get the argument both ways. The Xbox is bringing out some pretty cool stuff in terms of, like, I can only imagine this is a huge selling point. If you're getting like Valhalla or any of these big role-playing games, the amount of load time you get between going to certain parts of the map or doing certain things where you have to fast travel, the amount of load time is so much quicker. If you watch any of the videos on these new systems, how fast you load into these games, and just so that in-game content is going to actually load quicker too. So instead of waiting 3 minutes to travel across the map, it's going to take you 10 seconds. So you're going to be able to hop in and out.
You're saying I could finish a fetch quest in 3 minutes instead of 12 minutes.
Yes.
That's huge. Sold.
That's huge. If I can get through 13 fetch quests in the time it normally takes to do one, I'm sold.
Get yourself a Series X or S.
Man,
fetch yourself one.
I was so excited for all these games this year, but the biggest ones are all getting delayed or not coming out this year, or I'm not really excited about any of these systems anymore as I was.
Do you feel like because Cyberpunk did it and everyone was like, okay, that everyone else is just like, well, maybe we can do it too? Like, do you think that's part of it?
I think they probably should have, like, neither Sony or Microsoft was going to back down to releasing the system this year, but I think they should have delayed both systems a year just because of COVID. Imagine trying to develop software, write the code, do all the art, voice acting, mocap for one of these giant AAA games remotely, like, for most of the year. That's why they're getting delayed. Everything suffered so much. What did Hummer just get so excited about?
I don't know what happened, but I noticed it. I think he spilled something.
No, I didn't spill anything. This is actually a really good kind of insight into how video games are made. It's a podcast. So
you had an actual
on
moment.
The podcast. I did have an actual moment. It's called the Darknet Diaries. It's become one of my new favorite podcasts that I listen to. Basically, this guy kind of just goes through and gets hackers and stuff to tell stories about like the hacking scene. But it's like, I guess I'll pinpoint two episodes 45, episode 46. They're all about how the original Xbox got hacked. Like, just a group of, like,
probably a good story.
It's a great story. It talks about basically just a group of like 4 or 5 guys who ended up coming together on the internet. They ended up, one guy just like by chance found out how to break the encryption on the Xbox, and then it just went from system to system, how they got dev kits. It ends up to the point to where someone stole the code or the game that the Pentagon uses to train Black Hawk pilots. So, like, they ended up getting into some real crazy shit, but it kind of like gets you into like how they actually program and like in develop on these systems, because a lot of times too they're using emulators. Like, you can back in the day, like you could have built a Durango, the Xbox One, when it was like someone released the specs to it. You could actually have gone to Newegg and purchased every single part and built yourself an Xbox One before it was released. Then you could have been a part of this hacker group and you could have gotten the code to actually install the operating system on it. Like they had the operating systems installed on just regular PCs. You know, these things aren't that like crazy that you can't do that necessarily. So it's when I hear that excuse, I'm kind of just like, okay, like I get it. You guys are just behind. You guys are making it a very detailed game, and you guys are just behind. That's fine. But the Darknet Diaries, it's highly suggested to listen to episodes 45, 46.
I'm adding it right now.
Yeah, add it. It's awesome. But speaking of you're not excited, I'm excited about, I know it's already released, but Star Wars Episode 1, Racer. The 1999 classic racing game.
I knew what you were going to say, but for some reason in my head, I heard Star Wars Episode 1, Racist. And I don't...
Question mark? Let's find out.
Let's talk about that. Jar Jar Binks.
Why is Anakin white?
Better. Why is Qui-Gon Jinn white? That is a very Asian name, if I have to say so.
Guys, bringing up a lot of good points.
I mean, I'm not going to talk deep into Star Wars Racer. It just brings back nostalgia because I literally poured hours into that game as a kid.
I just remember being in the arcade and doing the like lever thing, just like Anakin. And being like, I'm him. I'm fully Anakin. I've finally done it.
But then you gotta throw a wrench into the thing.
Yeah, Sebulba, Wadakuda Buddha. That's my terrible Sebulba impression. Before we started,
Sebulba.
That was it.
That was it. End of episode. Get out of here.
And it was still better than the sequel movies.
Isn't that sad? Isn't that so sad?
It's so sad.
You know,
anyway,
it's like Star Wars should have just done what Harry Potter did. You know, throw in at least one pod racing scene, almost like per movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just get it over with.
One Quidditch scene per movie.
Yeah,
like one Quidditch scene per movie, one pod racing scene per movie.
All right.
They sort of did in The Last Jedi. Remember where they had the like race with those weird animals at the non-Vegas Vegas?
No, don't talk about that. Oh, that's oh god, that's the worst part of that movie.
Oh, 100%. But we have to talk about it now.
I thought it was the best.
Remember when they introduced the kids having Jedi powers and then did nothing with it? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
You remember? I remember.
Palpatine remembers.
All right, you guys. Oh, you hear that sound? Of course you don't, because I haven't programmed it in yet. But that means we're moving on to what we're talking about this week.
Open up that claw, boy.
It sits better in the stomach. More room.
The claw does, or this information that we're about to give you?
All of it. Synergy.
It's synergy. It's economics. Don't worry about it.
Is that a Bavarian Hefeweizen Hummer?
A Bavarian Hefeweizen from High Grain Brewing Co.
Ooh.
Don't know where that is though. Might be in Cincinnati. Might not be.
I'm enjoying a White Claw made by PepsiCo, probably. I don't know who makes it. So, Brad.
Awkward silence.
What do you got for us this week?
So, not that long ago, I was hanging out with a friend of mine.
Whoa, rub it in, right, don't you?
Yeah. I have a friend, just the one. Anyways, so we and him were hanging out.
Stupid J-Rod.
It wasn't J-Rod. Anyways, so he kind of looks at me and he goes, "So have I told you about my newest obsession?" Which is, never a fun thing to hear when you're alone with another man. And with this guy, it could have been anything. It could have been like a small or large gun. It could have been something I can't legally talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But what it ended up being was this amazing TV show, which you can find on Adult Swim. It's been around for 2 seasons now, and it is called Tigtone. Is the only way I had to put that much emphasis on it.
Whoa!
Thank you for following up my amazingly epic thing with that belch. It's fitting. It really fits. Thanks. Anyways, so Tigtone is the name of the show.
I just want to set the tone.
Yeah, please. Thank you for that. I needed all the help I could get.
I see what he did there.
So we ended up burning through about 9 or 10 episodes of the show, and it's really unfortunate that it's on cable because I have no way to actually watch it on my own anymore because I don't have access to anything that has cable or live TV because all I do is stream Netflix and Hulu and YouTube. So I've only been able to watch over at his house, but this show is epic. It's brought to us from Blake Anderson. Do you guys remember Blake Anderson of Workaholics fame?
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of the executive producers along with 2 of his friends. And this show is about it's an animated show. It's a 2D animation, but they use motion capture technology for the face. So it's all of their faces move like in real time. But their hands and bodies are very 2D animation. It's high fantasy, and it's kind of making fun and paying homage at the same time to high fantasy quest-based RPGs and everything in that genre. And Tigtone, the main hero, is an epic quester, always searching for the next quest. And some of the quests he goes on are amazing. And ridiculous. He has a couple, just a few, just to fill the time, just to fill a little bit of time between actual quests. The show is very ridiculous in how hilarious it is. His main companion is a creature named Helpy, and it is in fact a Helpy. It's not only its name, but it's what it is, and it has. It has a very strange power in that it can regenerate all parts of its body. And they use this to hilarious fashion. Like there's one episode where he's trying to get an amulet down from a tree. So he continues to chop off Helpy's arms, limbs, and chop into his body for his organs in order to throw things at the amulet until he knocks it off the tree. There's another part where he needs to set an enemy on fire. So he sets Helpy's arms and legs on fire, cuts them off, and then throws them at the person he needs to set on fire. The show's ridiculous, guys. The leader of the town that he is nearby is the King Queen. It's one person with the head of a king and a queen. There's an episode where he's fighting pirates and he gets overwhelmed. So in order to escape, he jumps on a cannonball and then rides it away like a horse in the sky. He has an arch nemesis that is a female, and every time they meet, they casually have conversation while sword fighting in one hand. So they're always like sword fighting, but they'll just be talking like, "Hey, how's your day? How are things going with you?" I cannot express how hilariously amazing this show is. I did watch some behind the scenes stuff, so it was really funny. They do, the voiceover actors will do their normal parts, and then the 3 creators have to sit, and they call it the torture device because it's this, in order to do, because it's 2D, but they do the motion capture faces. Mm-hmm. So they have to lock their heads in place and then redo the lines as the voice actors do them in order to catch the motion capture. So let's say the line is, a valiant quest. They have to sit in this torture device and film with motion capture and just go, a valiant quest. So there's 2 seasons out. I think it's a hard 3 to 4. It's really funny. If it catches you, it's going to turn into a 5 real quick because you're going to want to burn through it. The episodes are only 10, 11 minutes long. But again, it's on cable. So you have to find a way to watch cable, which I don't have. so I can't recommend anything.
What's channel on cable?
It's Adult Swim, so Cartoon Network.
So Cartoon Network.
So I know if you have Hulu with live TV, you can watch it. If you have YouTube TV, you can watch it. If you have cable, you can watch it not only, or satellite, I guess. You can watch it on Cartoon Network, or you can go to their website and stream through their website with your cable or satellite provisions. There are 2 seasons out right now. Guarantee you they're going to do some more. And actually, I was talking about this show with some of my customers because, I'm a bartender, so I was talking about it. And since we're plugging podcasts, I also started listening to a really great podcast called Dungeons and Daddies. And it's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast where these 4 regular dads were transported to like the whatever realm. I forget what it's called. And they're just regular dads in a D&D universe. And it's a comedy podcast. And it's definitely worth a listen. It is hysterical. So I'm going to rate that a 3 out of 5 as well. So two 3s verging on 4s for me today from some high fantasy tomfoolery is the word I'm going to use.
All right. I'm adding it right now. Dungeons and Daddies.
It's right up your alley, Sauce, because, you're a father. And
what? I am? This is how I find out?
Listen.
I thought it was because Sauce liked to be tied up in the dungeon while he gets whipped by his wife saying, "Who's your daddy?"
Yeah, BDSM for sure.
Big time. Love pain.
Big time. Big time.
It's going to be a big lunch. Wait,
a big lunch with Sabalba.
Oh my God. What was the name of the podcast you recommended, Homer?
Darknet Diaries.
All right, cool. I'm adding both of them.
I appreciate how much you enunciated that podcast originally. Darknet, whatever the last word was.
Listen, I got to tell you, based on what your description of Tigtone, I'm not sold on it. But based on your record of recommendations, you're straight crushing it. So I will check it out based solely on that.
I know how you're not a big high fantasy guy, so that's the only reason I think that I wouldn't recommend it to you, but I would because I know where your humor lies, and it's very similar to mine. And when things get ridiculous, I think you have a limit, probably like I do. I didn't think. Did you find what was that? Super Jail? Did you like Super Jail when that was on?
No, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah, too much for me. But did you like most of Tim and Eric? Or like the Eric Andre show?
I never got Eric Andre show came after I stopped watching cable.
Yeah,
but
like
I love
Tim and Eric, Workaholics.
That was a good one.
Thank you for leaving. Like that kind of ridiculous, high escalating nonsense comedy.
I never liked Workaholics.
You didn't like Workaholics? I get that because there were times at Workaholics that I didn't necessarily care for it. But when they were heavy Blake Anderson's character episodes, those ones I thought were great.
He's the one I like the least.
What?
Yeah.
You're not selling me on this whole Sauce has the same sense of humor as you.
Well, that was that's just the one thing we disagree on. But that whole show,
no,
that's it.
There's going to be a lot of other things we disagree on.
Never.
Next week, Brad and Sauce disagree on stuff. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Next week, we bring in a giant pool filled with mud, and Sauce and Brad wrestle
while disagreeing on stuff.
Yeah.
While disagreeing on the consistency of the mud.
we would argue about that. I'm just going to throw that out there. That would be an argument.
I said it was more viscous.
It needs more water to be viscous.
Then it's not mud.
There's so many rocks in here, it's almost like it's cement.
Listen, it's basically sand at this point.
All right. I don't like this bit. Let's move on. So, jumping on Brad's recommendations, yes, I finally checked out Cobra Kai, and oh my God, I didn't realize how amazing it was.
5.
For sure, 5 out of 5. And here's why it's a 5 out of 5. So I saw the
Did
ads
Brad
for
already
it.
cover while it's a 5 over?
Just
I actually believe I said it was a 4 out of 5.
no. Here's why it's a 5 out of 5. My personal opinion, because I saw ads for it on YouTube and when it first came out, and I'm like, oh, there's no way this can be good. It's a YouTube show, So I just blew past it. But then, as it built hype and as it went on, everybody realized how good it was.
You mean Brad?
Yeah,
Brad realized how good it was.
Mm-hmm. And so,
Well, Netflix bought it before I did, so
he beat him by this much.
I was in the running.
It's because it's very consumable. So even if you've got like a big list of stuff to watch, the 2 seasons, 10 episodes, 20 to 30 minutes. I mean, you can watch the whole 2 seasons in a couple days if you really want to. But because it's so consumable, on top of that, it's just so good. The story's good. There's no real antagonist, and so both who you would think would be the protagonist sometimes is the antagonist. It goes both ways. There's no real villain. It's well acted. The writing's great. Danny LaRusso's wife is super hot.
Peace
got everything you want.
Peace is the villain. All right, peace is the villain. Violence is the protagonist.
If there's
bringing weapons to school is the villain.
But what if your body is a weapon?
Then you shouldn't be in school, obviously.
I mean, how terrifying would it be to go to a school where all of a sudden just like 50 kids just break out into like a real legit just
no joke. If I was in high school, like I was gonna say studying in the quad, but like that wasn't real. If I was in high school smoking a blunt on the quad and everyone around me started kung fu fighting and the song Kung Fu Fighting didn't come on, I'd be flipping out.
What is this shit?
I would transfer schools. I'd be like, get me to the nearest Catholic school. I got some praying to do.
The one time in my life.
That's when you need the stingray.
God. That would be just incredible.
Wait, hold on. Since you name dropped Stingray, didn't you think that character was gonna fail hard? Yes. When he came in? You were like, oh God, this is the jump the shark moment that they brought in Stingray. And then didn't you love Stingray?
Yes, and then
so much.
Amazing.
I totally thought it was a jump the shark like ad character, and then he was brilliant.
He crushed it. Yeah.
When he's at the party with all the underagers and his girl makes him realize it, he's like, "Whatever, babe.
They're my friends.
They're my friends. When you're partying with Stingray, you drink with 16-year-olds."
Yeah. That show. Oh my God, it's so good. I won't go on about it too much because season 3 is coming out soon. If you haven't seen Cobra Kai, out of everything I'm gonna recommend or not recommend, put that at the top. Because
there is also a video game Cobra Kai coming out. I expect it to be bad.
Sure.
Now, before you go on with the other ones, let me just throw in Enola Holmes because I did watch that off of a Brad recommendation, and just quickly, it was awesome. I definitely think it's one of the, like Brad said, one of the more unique takes on the Sherlock Holmes series. It's worth it. I think it's worth the 4. You should definitely go check it out. The performances were awesome.
Mr. Cavill, baby. Mr. Cavill.
Everybody was
He's
awesome.
not in it that much, though.
He's in it enough.
He isn't in it enough. And they do such a good job.
Oh, wait.
Of,
No. I said he wasn't in it enough. He's not in it enough.
Make up your mind.
I think you can go either way. I like the Enola Holmes character, but I think they could obviously do a spinoff that's just solely based on that portrayal. Yeah. So either way, Brad gets some more creds. Kick it back to Sauce.
All right, now no more creds for Brad. That's enough creds.
What?
Speaking of anti-Jewish, so Borat 2 subsequent movie film.
You didn't say the whole title there.
I'm not gonna. All right, let me look it up.
Yeah, Borat.
If you understand
subsequent movie film, delivery of prodigious bride to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
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 You're never getting that right.
And not assholes, Uzbekistan.
This
You
sounds
might as
worse
well
than
say
the time.
Tajikistan.
This sounds worse than the time we tried to pronounce
Yeah.
words.
Yes.
Yes.
We're just talking about all our old episodes now.
I almost just spit so many callbacks. I was just spit all over it. My desk here.
It's not even our 100th episode. We can't have this many callbacks.
So
it's a flashback episode.
Sauce, what did you think of Borat's subsequent movie film?
Oh my god. Okay, so let me start off. The first Borat is so good. It was a cultural phenomenon when it came out. And yes, of course, everybody has those people in their circle of friends that don't have a real personality, and so they only quote movie films. Like that's like their only thing. Not knocking people who do it, because obviously Brad and myself do it a lot, but that's like the only thing that they do is quote like popular movies, and super annoying. And those guys kind of like killed the first Borat a little bit, but I went back and rewatched it, and it's still so amazing. Because not just what he's doing is outrageous and outlandish and insane a lot of the times, but it's because at the core of it, it is a social commentary. He's getting people to let down their guard to this character, and to show like how, you know, they really think or who they really are. And so he learned that from the first movie. He learned that from his TV show that he had, which is
Ali G.
No, not Ali G. That I'm talking about. I think it's called This Is America or something America, that came out a year or two ago. I'll look it up real quick. But basically, it's just him playing different characters, interviewing people, and using like the character he's playing to find out, like to get that, like, hey, I'm on your side. We can really like talk about this.
But he's spoofing them because he's just being so ridiculous. And there were some, I forget the highest profile interview, but kind of like how he did here, the Rudy Giuliani scene. That I think if you've been hearing anything about Borat 2, you've heard about it. You may not have watched it, but if you do, it's kind of like, you got Rudy Giuliani to do what?
And the Giuliani scene was all over the internet. So I think so many people saw it.
That wasn't even the best one, though. Well, I mean, all right.
It might be the most incriminating.
The one, I think this was in there too, but like all of his stuff is like you were saying, it's not staged. There's only like, I think like a handful.
Some of the
actors.
Stuff has to be staged to have a
plot point.
arc, of the movie.
But really, like if you go to the Internet Movie Database, no jokes, Sacha Baron Cohen, Maria Bakalova, I cannot pronounce anything with a K in it.
Don't try.
And then Tom Hanks is the third cast member listed. Like no one else has their picture next to the actor's name. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. I looked it up real quick. His show is called Who Is America. It's worth checking out. It's eye-opening. As is the second Borat movie, subsequent movie film. So here's the thing. This movie is not for
anybody who gets offended about anything.
No, I disagree. It's more so if you're like a conservative snowflake and you don't like anything remotely negative to anybody that is your.
What do you mean? He was totally he has a great song.
Don't use their own term against them like that. They'll snowflake out about it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's called projecting. Yeah. So Sacha Baron Cohen is 100% using the second Borat movie to highlight what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocrisies of a lot of the conservative talking points, ideals. The Disney they make like a Disney movie for Kazakhstan about Melania, whose only dream is to marry a rich fat man from America and escape her life. It's so hilarious. So yeah, so if you aren't a flaming conservative, then you can enjoy this movie, and it's hilarious. And there's some parts of the movie where he had to wear a bulletproof vest because like he was in such dangerous situations, the shit he was trying to pull and trying to do.
Well, they said they got 400 hours of film that they had to go through. They make the final cut of the movie. 400 hours of film because like none of it's staged. And if you're watching this movie, I don't know about you because I had to some of those too, but I'm giving it definitely a 5. Like I laughed like nonstop. It's only like an hour and a half. It's not a very long movie, but I laughed the entire time. And then when you realize that everything is not staged, like there's some scenes that you would definitely think are staged. I'll just tell you the intro to the scene, ballroom. That
one was gross,
but it wasn't staged. That's the funniest part. It wasn't staged. It was so good.
I thought it was amazing that they filmed the whole movie before they sold it to Amazon. Like the movie was done, and then they were like, "Hey, who wants to buy this movie?" And Amazon was like, "Hey, yes, please."
I love that Jeff Bezos has no morals. He wasn't afraid to have something on his site that has a statement to it.
Well, he's I don't know how anti-Trump he is, but him and Trump are going at it, and the movie's free, so you can watch it before the election. Like that was clearly intentional, but it is.
I love their billionaire verging on trillionaire rivalry. It's hilarious at times.
One who arguably has more power than the other.
I don't know. That's debatable.
Well, it depends on, how the election goes.
Yeah, so there's one scene, Bradley, for my Jewish friends out there, where he it's probably a minor spoiler, but I'm gonna spoil it. He wants to kill himself. Borat does. So he's scared of Jews.
That stirred a reaction.
He's scared of Jews and their venom, and like if they touch him, he thinks he'll die. So he goes into a synagogue.
That's somewhat true.
Yeah. So he goes into a synagogue dressed as like the most ridiculously offensive, like oh my god, like horribly offensive Jewish person.
He's holding a bag of money and a puppet in the other with his long nose.
And he meets I don't want to spoil all of it, but he meets some very nice old Jewish ladies.
I was gonna say they probably were like, "Come hang out."
They were. They come in like there's no reason to be scared of us. Talk to us. And,
does she look like she have a
They were like,
nose?
here's our unleavened bread. It's terrible. It's terrible.
They were very warm and welcoming to him, and so those are the only people that he ended up revealing his identity to out of respect, because one of them was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh wow. Well, he's also Jewish himself,
right? So out of respect, and then she tells her story, and it's not in the movie, but it's one of the bonus scenes. Like you can hear her story. So I thought that was interesting. So out of all the crazy shit he did, those are the only people he's like, all right, I'm gonna let him in on it.
Score one for the Jews.
Yeah. So if you see, if my wife was crying, laughing so hard, like it's such a funny movie.
I'm not even watching the movie. I'm just going through the pictures on Internet Movie Database, and it's making me crack up.
So yeah, for me, Borat is movie wise, it's more relevant right now at this current moment in time. Movie wise, like I think structurally and comically, the first movie is probably a little bit better. So I'm actually gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
I 100% disagree with you because
Okay.
this is a 5 because of the fact that it is relevant. If you wait to watch this movie, it like in 3 weeks, this movie could be irrelevant.
I don't think it makes sense that you 100% disagree because he gives it a 4 out of 5. I think you more like 20% disagree. Because if
Fair
you
enough.
100% disagree, you'd be like, it's a 0. I'm offended. Trump, 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 Trump.
Yeah, if you're a big time Trump supporter, then first off, you're probably not listening to this podcast anyway. Second off, you're not gonna watch it.
That,
Yeah.
you make that judgment, but that could also not be true because we don't necessarily
We don't
talk about.
politics.
As much as you're like, yeah, I lean left, because that's how I lean. We're not a political podcast. People like movies and video games and beer.
I still think we're a very left leaning podcast.
That's because we're left leaning people. But
Don't talk
I mean-
about my Johnson that way.
It looks
I
like a
thought I was
giant.
talking about your Wang.
Don't talk about
Wang,
my
pay
gi-
attention.
my giant Woody
I was
Harrelson.
distracted by that large flying one-eyed monster. Step right up and see the one-eyed monster.
I really
I'm
say it's just a
still
5
hilarious.
because of the cultural relevance. Like, it's just so funny. It's right before the election. It's clearly, like you said, taking aim at the hypocrisy of the Republican Party at the moment. And it's just like, it's so cultural. If you're gonna watch it immediately. Go and get it out of the way. Laugh your ass off. Go and vote, and then after the election, you probably don't ever have to think about this movie ever again. But it's funny now.
It's so funny. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
All
this
right,
whole movie
so-
it's all context. So sorry. I think that was deserving of its time.
All right, we're running a little bit low on time here, so I'm not going to go over the witches.
Save it for next week.
I'll save it for next week. So
All you have to
ooh,
say is that it
cliffhanger.
wasn't as good as the original, right? I mean, is there anything to say other
I
than
never
that?
saw the original.
What?
Should
That
I,
reaction.
should
Yeah,
I get into the witches? I mean,
We've
No,
had some
you
good-
should
we've had
watch
some
the
good
original
reactions today.
first. You
We've
should
had
watch
some
the
great
original
reactions.
first. Then we can talk about the witches. Don't even talk about the new one unless you haven't seen the old one.
I'm not going to watch the old one.
Boo.
So would you say you two 100% disagree on this?
Yeah.
No.
Get in the mud pit. We're talking about this.
It's not mud. It's just wet dirt. I hate this bit. I think the more I drink, the less I can improv.
The correlation is astounding.
You know, I wanted to do like maybe like a kids movie episode, but that's like because I'm a dad, and that's I don't know what the witches made me think because it is okay. I'm gonna talk about the witches. So here we go. I'll keep it quick.
Things are happening now.
It's a
Do you have kids?
yeah. I got kids. I got 2 kids.
Now
We like to
is
have
the
a
time to tune in to the podcast.
skip the first 47 minutes. Jump to here. I'll keep it quick. It's a kids movie. It's based off of Roald Dahl.
Roll doll.
Ragdoll?
Roald Ragdoll.
Man, side note, Roald Dahl is a supremely interesting person. He has some really cool stories of like when he was an officer during World War II. Side note finished.
Um
Well, that's
so-
it. That's our time today.
Here we go. End show.
And recording.
So the Witches is got Anne Hathaway. It's got Octavia Spencer. And because it's not a spoiler because it's part of the trailer, but the kids turn into mice. But because of that, it's mostly Octavia Spencer with the animated mice. She's amazing in the movie. Stanley Tucci's in the movie for some reason. He doesn't really do anything other than have a couple of lines, but the first quarter of the movie is just Octavia Spencer explaining witches, and it's like I was engrossed by it. It's fascinating. I just wanted the whole movie to just be me listening to Octavia Spencer explain witches. I love that part.
With 2 mice and a vat of cream.
Oh well, yeah. Now that you bring it up,
Let's hear your amazing impression of that, because it's terrible and it's great.
you see, there were two mice that fell into a bucket of cream.
It's so bad.
The first mouse
I think that's actually
tried
really
to get
good.
out and he drowned. The second mouse tried so hard to get out of the bucket, he turned that cream into butter.
So bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am that second mouse.
Where is Christopher Walken to? That's what we all need to know.
I don't think it's that bad.
That's
I thought it
great.
was good.
It's fantastic. I love every second of it.
So yeah, the witches, Octavia Spencer is amazing.
It's stupendous.
The most
tremendous.
interesting part of the movie is her at the beginning talking about witches. It's free on HBO. If you have HBO, I wouldn't get HBO just to watch this movie. Definitely not a bad movie. The pacing of the movie is weird though. You have to see it to be able to understand like why I think the pacing is weird. 3 out of 5.
The original Witches movie that this one is based off in the Roald Dahl book is absolutely an amazing film. It's creepy. It's better. The story is amazing because I mean Roald Dahl books alone have always been fantastic. The children's stories he did. They did so much without CGI back then, and they made those women that are the witches look absolutely terrifying back then. I didn't see the new one, but I did recently hear someone else talking about the new one and like what they had to say in comparison to the old one. And they talked about they liked Octavia Spencer. They thought Anne Hathaway was good. There were some subtle differences in the story in how the kids being mice turned out and like them doing some things that I don't want to spoil if you choose to watch it. But the original movie is stellar. You should watch that instead. That's all I'll say.
I might have to check it out. It's definitely worth watching with your kids. My 3-year-old was a little bit scared, but my 4-year-old loved it. So Hummer, we saved a little bit of time for you, buddy. What do you got for us this week?
I only have one, and it's good. It's a
Pew, pew, pew.
yeah. This
pew,
one's
pew,
for all you
pew.
ladies out there,
Hey.
and all you men with sophistication like myself.
Your pinky wasn't out far enough out for me to believe that. There it is. That is some supreme pinky out holding of a cat.
I've actually been watching Emily in Paris. It's a Netflix. I think it's Netflix. It's basically a show with Lily Collins about this American girl who is working at an ad firm in Chicago, and she speaks zero French, but ends up landing a job in Paris because her boss got pregnant and couldn't go. And it just kind of
common problem amongst women.
And it kind of goes through her the trials and tribulations of being in Paris and not speaking the language and still having a full-time job. I actually think it's hysterical. It has in America it has a well reception. Parisians apparently hate the show because it makes them look like cheating and lazy and but I'm like
So exactly how I already see the French is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
as a Mexican, I get it.
There's not too much to go into the show because I feel like it is going to be kind of like a very niche because it's a comedy, drama, romance type of thing. So it's like basically watching a rom-com.
A drama
for an entire entire season of episodes. It's definitely not a bad one if you're just looking for a show to watch or binge with your wife on a Saturday evening after a glass or a bottle or 3 of wine. It'll get her in the mood. It has a little bit of comedy, a little bit of sex.
Ooh.
Oh, did we tell the kids to tune out already?
Yeah. No. They're supposed to be watching this part.
Hey kids, do you like violence?
Let 3 random strange adult men give you the sex talk.
I mean, it's
The,
really hard
show
to talk
about
you into it.
French
The premise is super simple. Yeah, the premise is what it is, but and then it goes to her basically actually being really good at her job because she's good at social media and whatnot. So
3 liberal, sexually open men. sorry, Homer.
who go to Paris to be liberated.
And then they were disavowed.
This is the callbacks episode
with Emily.
So
and Margot Robbie.
So it's a show to watch with your wife, or are you watching it by yourself too?
I'm watching it by myself.
Sex scenes by himself.
My wife did already watch it. She actually didn't think I would be interested in it. And I was upstairs on my cycle bike that I purchased for a couple $100 off Facebook.
Were you
And
watching it while watching What Happens Live with Andy Cohen?
That I was not, but I was honestly looking for like a quick show, something like a comedy, just something to watch. And I was trying to do it quick, and I know my wife had said something about it, so I turned it on to see what it was about. And I thought it was
You
funny.
were hooked.
I started laughing. I thought it had some good comedic scenes to it, and because I've I kind of maybe I related to it a little bit, just having not only been to Paris, but just traveling abroad and not being able to speak a language in a country you're in, and seeing how challenging it can be, and honestly how funny it can be when you don't speak the language at all. And
Did you say you've been to Paris?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that about you. New thing.
Gay Paris.
Humble brag here. Been twice.
What?
Homer's a worldly man. Don't you have family in Italy?
I do have. I do technically have family in Italy now. In-laws.
In-laws.
But no, it's really cheap to fly to Europe from Philly. That's a whole nother.
Interesting.
Well, not right now.
East Coast in general is just cheap to get there because they're all direct flights and they're international airports with multiple flights a day.
The more
just on a whim, I fly to Paris. Whatever. No big deal.
Yes.
I don't even stay. I don't even stay. I just like plane rides. It brings out the child in me.
I mean, all right, if you really want to humble brag, I've technically been to Paris 3 times because I flew into Paris once and didn't get out, leave the airport. We went somewhere else.
When you go to Paris, you're going to get off.
But no, I like the show. I think it's worth it. It's definitely, I think, in my mind, a 3. It's funny. It's lighthearted. It's something that you don't have to. You're not going to kind of like Cobra Kai. You're not going to sink a lot of time into it because it's a very short season and it's a very short show. It's only 30 minutes, no commercials. They go by quickly, and a lot of the comedy it's American minded, so it's not like you're watching a foreign film and you have to put yourself you can put yourself in the shoes of an American and find humor in it. So I'd add it to your watch list if you're just looking for.
You're saying there's not French jazz subtitles and someone staring through a window in a corner while I hear "Je suis le toucher de bouche de loucha."
That's a community reference.
You'll get people. They'll speak French and there actually won't be subtitles. They want you to not know what they're saying.
Oh, cool. I respect that.
Lost in translation.
Yep. And so they want you to put it in the shoes of the main character there. So all of her friends she meets end up all, they all speak English, and so they.
I don't think I could fit into her size 6. That was a shoe joke.
Lily Collins is pretty hot, though. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I see that.
She's very attractive.
Yes.
So, but that's all I'm saying on that show. With that, I'm done. It's a 3.
Cool. Since we got a little bit of time, I did want to ask you guys if you did you know a classic? Did you know
that the Mandalorian starts in 2 days? Is that what we're going to talk about?
Is 2 days? It is 2 days. Yeah,
it's literally 2 days.
They're releasing it serialized, so I can't sit down and binge it, which is going to suck.
Okay,
why are they doing that?
But to keep you on your Disney Plus thing longer. But Dave, can we just talk about that? Dave Filoni is directing the 4th episode. So we're I'm predicting right now Ahsoka Tano episode 4.
Ooh, okay. Count it. Did I? Anyway.
What did you know?
You know why it's cool having a couple shows to watch every week that because you can dive like if especially like a show like Watchmen or a show like Westworld because you can I think we talked about this before too going into the theme of callbacks this episode, but you can like go online, talk about what happened this episode, speculate, be on the same page with people because you're all watching it together. So that's what we're gonna do with The Mandalorian.
That also being said, like there's kind of the aspect of having something to look forward to as well. Like
I wouldn't know what that feels like.
But I mean,
I'm a millennial and I want it now.
Think about when we used to watch cable and we had NBC Thursdays where we got The Office, Parks and Rec, and Community.
And 30 Rock.
And 30 Rock. Every day, every Thursday, we were looking forward to that. Or when Lost was on every Tuesday. Like, there's something to be said about...
And Heroes.
Yeah, about having that, I know later this week, this point in time, I'm going to get to watch this. And like, as much as I love binge watching content, and like it's the most amazing thing ever. There's something to be said about having something every week to look forward to. It's its own thing that I don't think enough people get to experience anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna have many conversations live here about Mandalorian for sure, because that's one. It's not too often we all watch the exact same thing
once a week.
Yep, that's gonna be yeah. All right, we took off because of the election. That was why, because of the debate.
I mean, The Mandalorian looks like it's going to be amazing too.
So,
I mean, they really picked it up in the second half of last season. Like it started with going of like, all right, where the hell are you actually going with this? And Star Wars, so you're watching it, but then all of a sudden you're like, this is fucking cool.
5 through 8, yeah, were amazing.
Plus, now you like the majority of Star Wars fans get exposed to like what we hardcore nerds know about. So like you're getting exposed to the Darksaber. So that's huge.
So I was talking to a really big Star Wars nerd tonight.
Was it
and
me?
Some of the stuff she was talking about has me really interested too. She expects Ezra Bridger to make an appearance throughout the show and was talking about somebody who's in that horror show you watched the other day that you talked about the other day, the
Halloweeny
House of
Bly Manor.
Yeah, Bly Manor. One of the actors has been basically trolling about being in Jedi shape, and that he might be in something big coming up.
I hope it's the Indian dude because he's an amazing actor.
I forgot his name. What she said because I didn't watch that, so I didn't know what his name was. But she thinks he's going to be Ezra Bridger from Star Wars Rebels, which I'm actually watching again right now because it was really well done. And we talked about how Dave Filoni, who, if you don't know who Dave Filoni is and you say you're a Star Wars fan right now, shame, because he gave us the amazing Clone Wars. And he was also the executive producer and director of Star Wars Rebels. And I think they should give him Kathleen Kennedy's job and make him the Kevin Feige of Star Wars, because he is such a Star Wars fan. He loves going back into the old lore. He turned Ahsoka Tano in for somebody that sucked in the beginning of Clone Wars to possibly one of the best characters Star Wars has ever introduced. Like, that man deserves so much credit for keeping Star Wars alive through these terrible, terrible segments. And I hope they give him Kathleen Kennedy's job.
I agree.
Yeah. So I still want to mention
fire Kathleen Kennedy.
I wanted to mention real quick what I was my did you know, and we can end here. Although I did look it up what you were talking about, Brad, and the actor Rahul Kohli is so good in Haunting of Bly Manor, and I've never seen anybody pull off a mustache like he does. Anyway,
so Ezra Bridger.
I started watching Schitt's Creek. I'm in episode 3, but did you know that Catherine O'Hara is Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Oh, well, Welcome to the party.
That was my Did You Know? So thanks for tuning in this week.
But did you know that Schitt's Creek is like the greatest show ever made now?
I'm finding out. I'm on season 3.
Okay.
That's a big statement, but it's very, very good.
Yeah, it took me a while to warm up.
Community's up there too. Like I think it and Community battle back and forth for the greatest of all time.
Except for the gas leak season.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Community though is so good because of the writing. Schitt's Creek is good because of the actors.
The writing and the actors.
Too.
I mean, the
You
actors.
gotta remember they write it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but for sure.
Don't start talking shit about Schitt's Creek.
We'll get into it next week, maybe. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's what we thought is some of the stuff worth sinking your time into. Please check us out on social medias. Leave us a review. Reach out to us. Let us know what you want us to review. We're on just about every platform. Mainly, I'm on Instagram. Nobody's really babysitting the Twitter account. And we're definitely on the Facebooks. So,
I don't like Twitter.
Yeah, I hate Twitter.
I don't like Facebook, man. It's spies on me.
Yeah.
I like to know someone's there.
I want to share pictures of my mom. So,
All right.
see you guys next week.